Hello beautiful creative friends, it's Belinda. Today I'm sharing something a little bit more fun and free-flowing. If you watched my recent vlog, in it I shared an unboxing of my first design team kit for the Hit Kit Club. And the colour kit for August included these Distress embossing glazes, which are a new medium for me. At first I thought they were going to be more of a wet medium, but I realised that they were pretty similar to embossing powders, and I've got quite a few of those. But before I got stuck into creating anything with the kit, I wanted to have a little bit of a play around with these. I've got some ideas for trying them out with a few different mediums, and I also wanted to have a play with one of the stamp sets that came from the August Hit kits as well, and just use those embossing glazes to fill the drinks in and see how that turned out. So I'm really not set out to work on a specific project or anything here, just wanted to have a little bit of a play and share that experimentation with you here. There is usually a fair bit of trial and error, testing things out, moving things around in my creative process, but admittedly it's not often that I just sit and play with products. So this has been really quite fun, if I'm being honest. I mean, I knew that I wanted to try out a couple of different mediums through a stencil. When I first did the one with just the embossing ink, I thought, oh, this kind of looks just really similar to an ordinary embossing powder. It's perhaps a little bit shinier. Same with the modeling paste, which I have played with before. I have played with modeling paste and embossing powders before. I like that. You're definitely not going to see this on camera. I like that it's raised, so there's a bit more texture to it there, but it is quite a rough finish, and you lose some of that real glossiness that's in this embossing glaze. The gesso, I didn't think this was, as I started heating it, I thought, oh, this isn't really going to turn out very well. But in actual fact, by the time it's finished, I really like it. I like that there's just a little bit of extra dimension. It's certainly a lot glossier and shinier than the other two, and it's sort of really highlighting the quality of that embossing glaze a bit more. The only thing I'm not loving about it is because it is a thinner fluid than the modeling paste and even than the embossing ink, it kind of spreads a little bit. So I might actually just play around with this a little bit more and just see if I can get something sort of a bit cleaner, or I might just learn to embrace that messy look. We'll see. And then once I was doing those, I thought, oh, maybe my understanding is that the whole point of these embossing glazes is that they are translucent, they are not opaque. So I thought, why not grab some vellum and grab some heat-proof acetate and see how it turns out there. And I wanted to try both the stencil and the stamping there. So I really love how they have turned out on the vellum, and again, it's kind of hard to pick it up here on camera, but that translucent effect is really quite interesting on vellum, and I can definitely see that being really great for like a water themed layout, which a lot of this kit lends itself to, because it really does, like particularly where I've just used this stamp, although it's meant to be filling in a drink, it's supposed to be bubbles, it really does look like water droplets. And then again on the acetate, so it's really, let me see if I can put some white paper behind it. It's really hard to see on this acetate because it's very subtle. It's quite subtle in person. It's going to be even more subtle on camera. But again, it's an interesting effect. It's probably easier to see it on that there where I've stenciled it. I wasn't too sure how the embossing ink would sit on that acetate, but it seems to have held pretty well. And there, the translucency really is very obvious. And I can definitely see that being something fun to play with, maybe for like a filled title or just as a see-through element on a page. So really happy having a bit of a play with those. Now that I've got an idea of how they all look, I'm going to have a bit more of a play around with these stamps, and I'm also going to create just a couple of little tags here that I can pop in with the kit to use on my projects. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up really quickly before my battery runs out. I really love how those drinks turned out with that embossing glaze, particularly these ones down the bottom here where I've used the embossing glaze for bubbles. Again, it's really hard to see that on camera, but in real life it's got a beautiful sort of shimmery effect, and of course with the drinks that's just perfect for those little images. I did have another go at using the gesso with the stencil that came in the kit, and I used a sponge to sponge the gesso on this time. It turned out better, I think. I did have a bit of a fail where I tried to use a spatula to scrape it across, and it was an absolute mess. So this looked better, but I still think it could be cleaner. So I'm gonna have a look and see what else I've got in my stash that I could use to get the same effect, but using like a thicker sort of paste-based medium. And then these were the little tags that I made once they have been heat embossed. Just something really simple to add into my little kit there, and I can use that on projects. And of course these ones we've already looked at. So that's just me having a little bit of a play. It was actually really nice to just sort of play with these things without any pressure and just see where it could take me. So I'm definitely looking forward to including some of these products in the projects that I make for the Hip Hit Club and also just in my personal projects. And so I'm going to end it here. I do hope that you've enjoyed this little bit of a creative play session with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you use these embossing glazes, if you have got any other techniques that you try that I should give a go. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. I will leave it there for now and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.